Welcome to another edition of Walnut Grove Cultural Conversations. He's really hydrating.
Hydrated, man.
We're two local pastors sit in front of a bookshelf and talk about things going on in our world. And summer is upon us, and between sweating and racing from your car and into the air conditioning and back and forth, a lot of people are going on vacations. I actually saw that the cruises have opened up for the first time.
Yeah, we're making up for our lost year.
Yes, exactly. So everybody's going out and doing that. And I know that a lot of people's picture-perfect summer is sitting on a beach somewhere.
Or a pool.
Or a pool.
With a book open.
Yeah. And catching some rays and catching some insight. And so I think that we wanted to kind of talk about what are some good books to spend your time with this summer, because there's so many out there. And so we wanted to kind of give you maybe a curated list, a small little sample of some things we like reading, some things we've been reading about. So I guess we just ping pong back and forth.
Yeah, do you want to go first?
I can.
Shorter people first.
All right, that's fine. My first book that I have to suggest is Letters to the Church by Francis Chan. This is a book that came out a few years ago, and it was one of those that took me a little while to read.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Yeah, because he's wanting you to wrestle with what you think about church and wrestle with
the status quo of church.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what your role in the church is. And he talks about kind of why he left the mega church life and things like that, and what he's been endeavoring in and had been endeavoring in up to the point of this book. And I just really encourage you guys, if you're passionate about the church, about the church's impact on the world and on our communities and on yourself and what your role in that is, this is a great book for you to check out and to give a look. So that's Letters to the Church by Francis Chan.
Yeah, it's a good one about wrestling with what should the church look like in the 21st century to line up with the first century.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my turn to get the ping pong paddle out. I'm going to go with, I don't have it with me, I'm listening to audiobooks lately or Kindle, but I'm going to go with The Science of Near-Death Experiences. And what got me about this book was the first part, the science of it, right? I've heard the stories, right, about 40 years ago, right, this became all you could talk about. We've seen stories as Heaven for Real and Onward.
Yeah.
But this is a book that looks at the science of that from doctors' perspective, from sometimes scientific, naturalistically minded people, and says what are the commonalities, what are the experiences, what are the cause, and what they found is oftentimes these experiences are cross-cultural, cross-generational, and they can't just explain them away easily. But people are having these out-of-body experiences, going through a tunnel, experiencing this divine joy and peace, being in the presence of some higher power. And for me, it's just like opening this door of like, is this just some evidence for something beyond a purely in-the-box world? Yeah. And I'm not building my faith on it. I'm not saying you should build your faith on it. But it does beg the question. That's really a scriptural question of what happens outside of this box.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting for us to look into kind of our blind spots, and some of the blind spots of our culture is we think that science can explain away everything.
Yeah.
And what that book is wrestling with is really something that, okay, we can't really explain it. What is this?
Yeah.
So kind of...
And what got a couple of these stories and testimonies that have been confirmed are people who go through traumatic experience, right? Near-death experience, and they then know something or learn something that they didn't have before, like some piece of information that they couldn't have possibly known. And I'm like, ooh, those just kind of give you the goosebumps where you're like, what's going on? I
think it's really cool to leave room for mystery.
Yeah.
So it is my turn to step up to the plate, to the table.
You're sitting.
Yeah, I know that, I don't know about you, but one of the things that I've seen coming up as we get back to normal is the temptation to get back to hurry. And so there's this book here. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. This book came out, once again, a couple years ago, but it's written in a really fast reading. So, and in opposition to letters to the church where you kind of have to wrestle with it. This one, you can breeze through really fast, and it's written really well. And it's just this guy who's kind of talking about, okay, I was in the rat race, I was doing these things, and I realized that I needed to do some things to radically change my life or it was going to kill me. And I think that hurry is one of those things that we really need to talk about. I remember asking a professor at the college I went to at Lincoln Christian University, like, how do you stop the hurriness? And he's like, you just have to change the culture. And he looked at me with such, like, hopelessness in his eyes.
As he balanced 6 committees and 17 classes.
Yeah, because that's all of us. And so this is a really interesting way where he takes a look at...
what I like is the back. All the reviews are like 7 words or less.
Yes, and that's kind of the situation. The formatting 12. Of this book is really cool. Like, it's spaced out really nicely. I just really enjoy it. And so I encourage you guys on that. That's The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer.
Yeah,
so,
fighting the urgency.
Yes.
The tyranny of the urgent, they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. My second is called Between Two Trees by Shane Wood. He is an Ozark professor of New Testament. He's a sharp guy. He is just a great biblical insight guy. He provides great biblical insight. And he writes this book that combines the very beginning of Scripture with the very end and walks us through the big picture, what we call a lot of the time the meta-narrative, right? The overarching story of Scripture between those 2 trees, right? The tree in the garden, the first garden, and the tree of life in the last garden, or 2 trees.
Yeah. That's how
on both sides of the river.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think it just, again, reminds me of what is this all about? Because it's easy to get caught up in our small stories, right? Our 100 years or 50 years, and then kind of get lost of like, okay, what's happening above all this? How is God working through all these other currents that are moving in different directions? Yeah. And so there's lots of stuff to read out there. Sometimes being discerning about what you read is the biggest hurdle. It's like Netflix. You know, there's like the full membership. Remember when you get to buy them or rent them and they send them in the mail?
Yeah,
and you could get 3 or you could get 1. Mm-hmm. Now you have Netflix and it's like 99 cents a month just to scroll.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and you can spend your time scrolling.
And then everyone ends up watching The Office.
Right.
So
it's gone.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it's gone.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to do something special this week. We want to do a reading giveaway. Yeah. We have 3 books to give away called The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. One of those classic, a best-selling book, I think maybe second to the Bible during its time.
Yeah.
So it got a lot of people thinking about, okay, what's my purpose here on this life and this earth? And Billy Graham and Franklin Graham both give it a review on the back.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this is a modern classic, is how I would describe it. And so if you're interested in getting a book for free, what we want to do is ask you down in the comments below to just put read. Just put down read. It's easy. 4 letters.
And
read.
If you spell it wrong, we're just going to take. Well, never mind.
Yeah.
I was going to say we're going to take 4-letter words, but I don't really feel like getting.
Don't do that, please. Yeah, but yeah, just put read down in the comments below, and we'll make sure that that you get your hands on one of the copies here. The first 3 that comment that, we'll make sure that they get their copy. And so we just wanted you guys to engage a little bit this summer. It's temptation to just unplug or to not unplug, but just to disengage and just completely go into mindlessness. But maybe something that your soul needs is invested in, and a great way to invest in yourself is through reading of books. And so we just encourage you in that. So with that said, we will see you next time on another edition of Walnut Grove Cultural Conversations.
Let's do it, man. Get ready.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, jeez.
I'm leaving it in.
Yeah, we're good. Do you need me to water down the table?